Hey, Thunder Poke is here. Today I'll recap a 2022 mystery, thriller movie, named Deep Water. Now grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy the recap. At the starting of the film, we see a man, whose name is Vic. After riding a bicycle, he arrives back home. His wife, named Melinda, is sitting right outside the house and looks at him with great wonder. In the subsequent scene, we see that they have a young daughter, named Trixie. She is listening to her favorite song, to which her mother shouts at her aggressively. The man goes into the room where his wife asks him to choose a dress for her. Later on, his wife asks him to grab her black shoes for her, which he does happily. So basically, this man obeys whatever his wife orders. They go to a party, where his wife and himself talk to their friends and drink some beer. Melinda sees her old friend Joe and starts to engage with him, which is seen by her husband, Vic. It does not take too long for Melinda to take his friend into a private space and start to kissing him. Right after, she starts to play the piano and makes everyone happy. Regardless of her bizarre acts, Vic smiles at her as if nothing has happened. Later that night, Joe talks to Vic and thanks him for letting him see his wife, Melinda. Vic tells him to recall a man called Martin McRae, who recently got missing. Vic suggests to him that he is the one who made him disappear. Joe thinks it is a joke, but Vic assures him the obvious: if he keeps making the same mistake like that missing man. Joe leaves the premises right after. Meanwhile, Vic's wife Melinda does not appreciate his actions towards her friend. Later at night, while Vic was talking to their babysitter, Melinda arrives at the kitchen without any shirt on. Vic does not like this unmannered behavior, and tries to shoo her away. This definitely annoys Melinda, and she goes away. We get to know lots of things about Melinda's character. She is a careless and selfish woman, and completely unmannered. We also come to know that Vic also has a hobby of keeping snails as his pet. A couple of days later, Vic meets up with his friends. There he gets to know that everyone knows how he threatened Joe at party, by telling him a Martin McRae joke. They also explained that Melinda is a sick woman, because she does all this in front of Vic. Back at home, Melinda gets to know about all this as well, and tells Vic to apologize to Joe. She invites him to dinner on Friday. It is Friday, and Joe knocks on the door and finds Vic welcoming him. He is nervous and asks if Melinda is home, to which Vic again jokes that she isn't home. Later, Vic tells him that they will enjoy some seafood and have conversations, but he gets to know that Joe is allergic to seafood. Melinda definitely knew this, but she did not tell this to Vic. Later at the table, Vic makes Joe some grilled cheese sandwich, and Melinda also starts it as if she is trying to piss his husband off. She sends Vic to take her daughter to bed and tell her bedtime stories. After telling a bedtime story, later Vic encounters Melinda and Joe having some fun together. You know what I meant by fun, right? Well, later Joe expects an apology from Vic, because he joked to him about killing Martin McRae. Vic replies to him that this was not a joke and calls him an Uber. One day, Vic and Melinda are sitting at a party talking to a writer. He calls him a killer and jokes about Martin McRae. Vic also dances with another woman. Seeing this, Melinda is totally jealous, and later compares herself to the women. She also tries to do things with Vic while he is driving. Later, Melinda and Vic got intimate, and they make love passionately. The next morning, Vic and Melinda are watching their daughter play. He gets a call from his bank which was about Melinda's bank account. He gets to know that she sent $3,000 to someone who plays piano, and he starts to research that person further. He ends up to a person who is an expert pianist, and extremely good looking. Right there, he also encounters Melinda flirting with him. At night, Vic welcomes Melinda and asks where she was. She is looking pretty drunk. While he was driving his daughter home, he again encounters the pianist walking with flowers. Those flowers are sitting in his home the same day. He is once again concerned about his wife Melinda having an affair behind his back. He is mostly home while his wife is working hard getting smashed by the pianist outside. Vic confronts her for her acts of not coming home for the whole night and using his money to cheat on him. No matter what he does, this woman is just purely self-conscious and does not care about his feelings. She even tells Vic that she has an amazing bedtime with the pianist. Next week, Melinda invites the guy to their party where Vic and he even shake hands. He once again finds his wife going intimate with another man. Melinda is so careless that she would do intimate things in front of her husband too. It starts to rain and everyone goes inside. They start to enjoy the party once again. The pianist is nowhere to be seen, so Melinda tries to check on him. She sees him dead inside the pool and starts to scream. Seeing this, everyone runs outside and try to rescue him from the pool and try to revive him, but unfortunately nothing works out. When the police start to investigate, Melinda starts to accuse her husband Vic of the murder. Cops start to question Vic for the obvious, but they did not find anything odd while their talk. He later asks Melinda if she is scared of him. She says she is not afraid because he took their life because of her. Later on, when Vic is riding his bicycle, he imagines Melinda and another guy together and also sees the flashes in him taking his life. Later on, they invite their friends to dinner. He tells his friend to stop telling people that he is a killer. He is very suspicious, and from time to time he would have meetings with his wife Melinda about this subject. Later, he reveals to the wife of his friend that he and Melinda paid a private detective to investigate him, which makes the couple shouting at each other. Later on, Vic figures out that she is seeing yet another man. One day, Melinda's friend Tony needs Vic inside the house. Melinda arrives and hugs Tony like he is her husband. While talking, she also reveals to Vic that Tony was the first American that she slept with. Tony suddenly starts to laugh and blush about it. Seeing all this, Vic seems a bit upset. Later that evening they start to enjoy the food and play good music. They start to dance very inappropriately in front of Vic. Vic also encounters them going upstairs in his bedroom. He sees that she is doing her usual things and they catch each other's eye. In a few days, Vic tells Tony that Melinda wants to meet him and make him sit inside his Jeep. He takes him to a really far place from the city. He keeps asking him questions about Melinda and his dating history. After they are out of the car, he picks up a heavy rock in his hands and throws it at him. It does not take too long for Vic to take away his life. Right after, he puts a heavy rock on his body and drowns him in the water so that no one can see him. After the incident, he comes back home happily. The next day, they decide to go on a picnic in the same location he took Tony's life. Later, he accidentally sees that the body can be seen floating on top of the river. At night, he gets to know that she is talking to another man called Don. She asks him to sleep in her room that night and she reveals that she loves him. Next day, he goes back to the same place to fix his mistake. While Melinda is able to discover Tony's wallet inside Vic's workplace, Vic is trying to push Tony's body down into the water where suddenly a guy arrives. He asks him about his actions and suddenly he sees a hand that comes out of the river. The old man sees this and starts to run away while Vic is following him on his bicycle. The chase goes on for a good minute and in the end the old man is met with an accident. Vic goes back home and we see the same scene we saw at the beginning of the movie. We also see that Melinda put Tony's ID inside the fire and did not tell the police about it. And with that the movie ends here.